Good ID design, Rodion. By Vanessa. Courser friends, precious friendship forged in fire. Multiple fires, actually. My name is Ness, short for Vanessa. My pronouns are she, it, they, and I prefer no masculine terms including dude/bro. Please respect that or get out of my video. This is a mini-series where I cover IDs I don't often talk about and my appreciation for them, going over their particular strengths or weaknesses and what makes them well designed. In my opinion, not yours. While the aim is to talk about only one ID per video to make these short and sweet, I might mention another here and there to show my appreciation. I'll discuss team compositions they work in and all claims made are assuming that they are in the best composition for them. Also subscribe if you like my content. Today's ID we'll be paying tribute to is Team Corp Class 2 Collection Staff Rodion, the closest thing in this game to a quote-unquote bad end ID for our beloved Special Sinner. She's a 2-star that, funnily enough, still sees relevancy to this day despite them pushing out T Corp Otis and previously T Corp Dawn, who was a notably stronger version of Rodion when she came out. However, I believe that Rodion genuinely has really good applications in her respective team compared to her T Corp associates. What is her weakness? Skill damage output, Tremor's main weakness usually. Akin to a fair amount of Tremor IDs that weren't Zweimail before Season 6, what Rodya mainly suffers from is low potential damage from her skills due to base/coin power being low and conditionals only really giving clashing power outside of skill 3, making her damage potential maximum of 113.4, calculated by Sir alone from the Great Limbus Library website. As she is a supportive/gimmick unit though, that's not the biggest concern. The only other thing of note regarding her is she only Tremor bursts on her skill 3, which is the same skill that she uses to utilize her gimmick. This isn't really that big of a problem, but it's worth noting if you want to utilize her defensive skill to gain borrowed time. Good, easy application of Time Moratorium. Not explaining what Time Moratorium is, since that will take a while, just go watch my Tremor video linked below. Rodya has a 2-step setup when it comes to applying Time Moratorium, not unlike her higher-ups. She applies her defensive skill to gain borrowed time, and next turn, if she's not double-sided, which you normally don't do for supportive units, she can utilize her skill 3 to inflict 2 stacks of Time Moratorium. Simple and to the point. You can access this from turn 1-2, so you can get as much value out of borrowed time if there's a skill 3 on deck for her to utilize. Not to forget to mention, applying Time Moratorium does not remove her borrowed time, unlike T Corp Otis. Dawn has a similar effect, but it's really just depending on Tremor consumption, which hurts your opponent's stack unless if you have borrowed time. This simple application without much conditionals leads to an interesting point regarding her. Her biggest strength is that she's boring. I'm serious. This is unironically good. T Corp Rodya does not have amplitude conversion. She has no special Tremor application. Often one would assume this means an ID is meaningless, but it's quite the opposite in the age of building Tremor. No amplitude conversion means you can use the effects of Time Moratorium without having to worry about clashing with other types of Tremor while utilizing her skills. This is most notable when it comes to T Corp Don Quixote, as she does not have a don't trigger amplitude conversion if the target is currently under it effect, but rather an effect that depends on the opponent's speed. As Season 6 introduced one of the objectively strongest types of Tremor for flat damage value, this kind of support can never be understated. A supportive ID with good clashes? Noted on a blurb regarding borrowed time stated in a previous slide, this ID gains a lot of clash power buffs regarding her skills, except for skill 1. It remains kind of mediocre. Borrowed time and Tremor-based conditionals turn her skill clashes from 11, 14, 18 to 15, 18, 22, which is actually on par for the average of Season 6 ID clashes. It's not the best and most important thing to note, but for applying Time Moratorium, she's actually extremely useful for clashes, which is a major upside. Is T Corp Class 2 Collector Rodya good ID design? Over time, as I've worked on good ID design, I've come to open my mind and realize things regarding IDs and their places they fit in on a team. A few weeks ago, I would have just wrote this unit off as a weaker version of T Corp Dawn, not realizing the upsides regarding her and looking into applications of Time Moratorium and how Rodya actually does matter. This ID is simple, however there is beauty in that simplicity that's both fun and easy. She's an excellent, non-intrusive Tremor slot and by definition, she is good ID design. Until next time, any other Rodion IDs you think qualify as good ID design? Anything I skipped regarding this ID that you want to cover personally? Have a good day, be good people.